Hey, welcome back to They Reminisce Over You. I'm Miguel.
And I'm Christina. And today, we're going to be talking about the queen of hip-hop soul, Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige. Big auntie energy.
Now. She wasn't always.
Not always.
We were all young once.
Yes. Ready to get into it?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so for those who may not know, a couple people, maybe some youngins.
Yes.
Who is Mary J. Blige? So we mostly know her for her music because she has albums spanning literally decades. So she has 13 albums in total, and her first album was released in 1992, and the last one was in 2017.
That's a full lifetime.
Yeah, that's like a whole ass adult.
It is. It is.
So on top of her albums, she also has an acting career that has also spanned decades, though most of her earlier appearances were just guest appearances as herself on various TV shows. But later in the 2000s to now, she's been doing more original roles in movies.
Right.
So for her role in the movie Mudbound, she actually became the first person ever to be nominated for an Academy Award for acting and songwriting in the same year.
I didn't even know that.
So they got a twofer with Mary.
They
you
did.
hire Mary, she could do a little acting, she can also do a little singing and songwriting.
I'll get into that a little later.
Yes. So we'll get into all of that a little bit later. But with a resume like that, it's pretty clear why we would want to take some time out to give her her flowers, because she deserves them all. She's a legend. She's an icon. And after revisiting her albums, I can officially say that she's my favorite singer.
That's a big claim to make. I don't know if I'm going to go that far and say she's my favorite singer. I'm going to have to think about it. But I'm not going to say she's not my favorite singer.
I usually don't say I have one favorite of anything.
Right.
And I've known since I was, how old was I, 92, 13 or something? I loved Mary J. Blige. But just listening to a bunch of her albums in succession and really thinking about it for this episode has solidified how much I love her.
That's the same way I came to the realization about Regina
King, yeah. So it's not really a shocker to myself.
Right.
But it's official.
Yeah.
After this, it's official.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know who I would put on my list. I'm going to have to think about that and get back to you.
All right. I will be patiently awaiting the results.
All right.
Let's start by talking about her debut album.
Yeah.
What's the 411?
What's the 411, hun?
What's the 411, hun? So she was quite young, 1920, when this album came out. And we've seen her before. She was singing backup for Father MC.
Yeah, really funny outfit that she's wearing in the video.
The little bangs and the ponytail.
Yeah.
But, you know, it wasn't funny at the time.
It wasn't funny at the time, but going back and looking at it,
It looks a little funny.
It's not the Mary that we know now.
Yeah, and it's weird seeing her sing backup.
Yeah.
But, you know, she was young. It was her, I'm guessing, one of her first gigs.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing her in anything else before that.
That's
but
the first thing I saw her in.
What's the 411 is a pretty solid debut album.
It is.
And she was working with Diddy, so, you know, he's got reach and stuff as well. He knows folks.
Yes, he does.
Which is clear in the very first track, which is an interlude called Leave a Message, which is something that a lot of the young folks probably don't know. This thing called answering machines. People would call your house phone and leave a message.
Yeah.
And then you would come home and listen to them. And maybe call them back.
Do people even leave voicemails in 2021?
Because
I think everything is all text messages.
Yeah, the only voicemails I get is usually like my bank or something like that. Or like
something professional.
If a friend calls me and I miss the call, they'll text me.
Exactly.
If they didn't already text me to begin with and forego the call altogether. So she's getting a whole bunch of messages from people basically calling her and telling her how good the album is. One that I found really funny was Andre Harrell calls. And in the message, he's like, Andre Harrell, CEO, chairman, founder of Uptown Records.
Like she wouldn't know who that is.
Like she signed to Uptown Records, by the way.
That was Andre Harrell giving the world an explanatory comment.
But I love that he said to her, see you at number one. Like, can you imagine your debut album? And another one that I thought that was really funny is, you remember that magazine Sister to Sister?
Yeah.
So Jamie Brown from Sister to Sister calls.
I remember hearing that the other day.
And just her voice was like, hey girl, call me. Just want to talk to you, see how you vibe. She's trying to like cozy up to her and get an interview. And I don't know why that always tickles me, just hearing her just like, call me. And then there's another person named Little Sean, not to be confused with Big Sean.
No, completely different people. Little Sean used to be a rapper.
Yep. But he says, call me, or better yet, beat me.
Yes, beat me.
That's another one. So as soon as we jump into the album, I'm already brought back to a different time, just with these little references. And it's kind of like what we were talking about, I think, in the last episode, where we're in this unique position of knowing what things were like before the internet and a lot of these technological advances, and knowing what life is like after.
Right.
There are people who literally won't know what we're talking about.
Have no idea what a beeper is.
Yeah, but then also at the same time realizing how long ago it was. It's like, dang, we're this old? All right, let's get back to the album. So the thing that I loved about this album is that it ushered in this new sound and this new look as well. Jodeci's first album had already come out, so we already had that hip-hop infused R&B.
Right.
But even their first album wasn't as much until
it wasn't
the second album.
Yeah, their first album, and I think I've mentioned this on the pod before, the first half of it is great, and the second half of it is terrible.
Yeah.
It sounds really dated, whereas it seems like that album was like a trial to see if this will work.
And then Puffy kind of, as he was known at the time, this was before Diddy. He was Puffy / Puff Daddy.
So it seems like on Mary's album is where it kind of came together.
Right, yeah.
It's like, okay, we see what we can do. Let's try and apply it to this.
And not only that, I think the infusion of hip hop was a little stronger with Mary's album as well. Because Jodeci's album, I think, is maybe at least a year, maybe two before hers came out. So there was still a little bit of the New Jack Swing, whereas hers was not.
No, not at all.
And also her voice and her style of singing, it's very clear that she has influences from artists like Aretha Franklin.
Right.
And so she brings this kind of like old soul to it at the same time.
Yeah.
But then you have this, at the time it was fresh, new, current hip hop sounds.
Right.
So just putting those two together was like, wow.
Yeah, it was the perfect person for the perfect time, and they made it happen.
Yeah. I think her first single was actually Reminisce.
I don't remember, but it sounds right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Reminisce, though Real Love is and will always be my favorite track off of this album.
Nope, You Remind Me was the first single.
You Remind Me.
Then Real Love, then Reminisce.
Okay, but then you hear the beat on Real Love. That kind of beat or bass line, I don't know what to call it. That's very hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that people who maybe don't usually listen to R&B would want to listen to.
Right.
Like very masculine men or whatever. Toxic males will even want to listen to this, right?
So are you saying I was a toxic
You're
male?
a toxic male.
At 16 years old
Probably
listening to
were.
What's the 411?
But you know what I mean? Like,
I know where you're going.
people who, normally listen to, quote, hardcore rap would enjoy Mary J.
Yeah.
And R&B fans would enjoy Mary J. Or people who are fans of both. This is the best fusion.
Yeah.
And I think Real Love is a very good example of that. After listening to the song, who knows how many times I've listened to that song. Every single time, it still gets me. As soon as that beat drops and then she comes in, I just never get bored of it.
I'm not going to say I love it that much, but I am a real fan of Real Love. And it's for those same reasons, because it sounds good everywhere you listen to it. If you're listening to it in your car, it sounds good. If you're out in a club and it's playing, it sounds good. It's a perfect record for 1992. If you wanted to know what 1992 sounded like in urban music, that's what it sounded like.
Right. And not only did she bring in this new sound, the fashion. She was wearing a baseball jersey from Toronto Designers, two black guys. As a Canadian, you kind of get excited when you see stuff like that, because this is pre-Drake, where nobody knew anything about Canada except for we live in igloos, right?
And played with bears.
Yeah, and so she's wearing this iconic baseball jersey and the baseball hat with the ponytail pulled through.
Okay.
But not pulled through the back, through the top.
Through the top.
I wanted that so bad, I actually bought a hat and tried to cut a hole out the top so I could pull my ponytail through.
You should try that to do it right now.
See, I don't have to, because Queen Beyonce made a backless Ivy Park hat. And I have three of them, as you know.
I do.
So it's not exactly the same, but I could pull out my ponytail out of the top of the hat. So it only took, almost 30 years for me to finally get this look.
But you can do it now.
But I really want a baseball jersey that looks like the one in the video. Because Two Black Guys, apparently, they still sell some things, but they don't sell that anymore.
Time to hit eBay.
I'm cheap.
Hey.
I might, I might get
Fashion
lucky.
hurt.
Well... Anyways, I think what makes this album feel more hip-hop than, like, say, Jodeci's album is she also used a lot of features with rappers and samples that made it feel a little bit more like... Actually, Biggie was on the remix only, right? Not on the original?
No, he wasn't on the album.
Yeah, he was on the remix. But Grand Puba singing badly as usual. Grand Puba loves singing.
He does. He's not good at it, but
yeah,
he tries really hard.
He's on a song with her. And then, like you were saying... It just sounded like Diddy was experimenting.
Yeah, it was, let's see how it sounds with Jodeci. That works. All right, let's go with Mary. It worked. They're off and running.
And then also she's from New York too. And as we had mentioned in previous episodes, that hip hop was very New York at this time.
At that time, Diddy was the wonder boy. He used to be an intern, worked his way up to vice president of Uptown, and everything he touched turned to gold. So people were actually looking to him to see what he was going to do next. So everything that he was doing, people were getting excited about. So he had the hits with Jodeci. Biggie was coming out around the same time, and then Mary. So there was this anticipation of pretty much everything he was doing. People wanted to be a part of it, and this album just fit right into it.
We talked a bit about the hip hop feel, and I mentioned the very like old soul feel. And I know you're not big on covers, but what do you think about Mary covering Sweet Thing? And
that's actually my favorite song on this album.
Shocker.
It is. It's surprising that.
Yes, because you are not a fan of covers.
I'm not. I typically don't like covers, but of the stuff on this album, that's my favorite song.
Okay. I would definitely consider this a no-skip album.
I'm not going to go that far. It's mostly a no-skip album for me.
Even if I don't love every single song, there's no song that makes me just like, next. Like, I was joking around about Grand Puba singing badly. But when it comes on, I'll sing along badly with it too.
Yeah, there's a gap of about 3 songs between... What's the one with KC?
I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, so from there to the song with Grand Puba, I skipped the songs in between.
Okay.
But everything else, I'm good with. So I'll let it run from the intro to the song with KC, skip Grand Puba, back to the beginning.
All right. But we will both agree, though, that it's a very solid first album debut from a 19-year-old.
Yeah. I will tie it all together when we get to her third album. I have something to put a nice little bow on this run of her first 3 albums.
So while this album will always have a special place in my heart, just because this was my introduction to Mary, it's the official second album, and I say official because there was a What's the 411 remix that came out after this, which actually was a pretty good remix album. Like, sometimes you hear remixes, this is basically the same song with like a rapper thrown in it.
Yeah.
But these are actual remixes.
Yeah.
Right. So that one's pretty solid too. But her official second album is
My Life.
The one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one.
Of the 13, did you say?
Yes.
Albums that she has? This is number 1 on the list. I don't think there's any debate among any Mary J. Blige fans.
I don't think so either.
Of which album of hers is the best one. This is the one.
It's always going to be My Life.
Yeah.
And if it's not My Life, maybe it's people who discovered her later, but...
Yeah, that would be the only excuse, is that you've never heard My Life.
Yeah, if you've been rocking with Mary since the 90s, the early 90s, since the first album, since Father MC...
This is the one.
This is the one, yep. So this was released in 1994, and I was a whopping 15 years old. But why does she have me feeling all these songs like I've been done wrong by a no good man? I'm feeling her pain with her, right?
Oh, man. I think we all felt that way listening to it.
Yeah. I think she just has a way, it's her voice, and you can feel the emotion.
Yeah.
Even if you don't exactly know what she's talking about, you get it.
Yeah, I kind of equate her in the same sense that I say Tupac isn't the greatest rapper of all time, but he is at the same time. Mary isn't the greatest singer, but she is, because like Tupac, you feel everything that they say. Like they stir up emotions, whether it sounds pitch perfect or the lyrics are perfect, doesn't matter with them. They make you feel the music.
That's an interesting point because I think that is what makes this album her best album and why it's better than all the ones that came after it. Because this album solidified her spot as Queen of Hip Hop Soul. So every album after that, there's more of a polish in her singing because now she's arrived.
Right.
She sounds more confident. She sounds more sure of herself. And so some of that rawness is now gone because she's here now. Whereas here, it's not that she sounds unsure of herself, but there's just this sort of rawness that you can't really recreate.
Right.
And I think that's what makes this album so good is because it's so real.
Yeah. And listening to it, you believe every word that she's saying. She means all of this shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing fake about it. Like, she didn't really do that. No, you listen to it like, you know what? This happened.
I have in my notes, I think at least 3 times, Mary is going through it.
Yes, she is.
Which we'll definitely get into. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
So this album, as I was saying, solidified her title as Queen of Hip Hop Soul because you get those hip hop beats,
right?
Those hip hop samples, those hip hop features, but then you get that old soul with it, with all of these samples from like. She has like a Marvin Gaye interlude. She's sampling, I think, Isaac Hayes,
Curtis Mayfield, all sorts of R&B classic material from the 60s and early 70s.
Yeah. So they did the little leave a message thing again.
Yeah. It worked the first time. Let's do it again.
So they did it again. And then the first song, Mary Jane, had an old school feel. And this is one of my favorite songs. It has such a smooth intro. And she does that, ooh, baby, again. And I just love it.
Yeah, it doesn't start with a bang. Like with the interlude and the first song, you don't get prepared for what's coming after that.
You do not.
It's kind of like, oh, this is cool. It's okay.
Yeah.
But then the next song kicks in.
It almost feels like she's telling a story, and it's called My Life.
Yeah.
So you start off, and it's a nice little love song.
Like, hey, remember me? I just did an album a couple years ago. I'm back now.
There's a very heavy theme as you progress through the album. But it starts with the, I don't want to fuss and fight. Let's just have a good time tonight. It's smooth, it's light. And then Joy is one of her few up-tempo songs that comes next. And this is one of those songs that you can get up and dance and do those signature Mary moves.
Yeah.
Do a couple kicks with your thigh-high boots on.
Yeah, if you don't like this song, there's something wrong with you. You put the song on now, and I recommend that whoever's listening to this, go out and do this. Play it in your car, play it in your headphones. This song is going to change you spiritually. And you can just feel the bass when it's kicking. And just because of the sample, it's just really heavy and hard hitting. And then halfway through the song, the beat changes. And in the bridge, all the bass just drops out completely. She does her thing. And then it comes back and kicks you in the ass one more time on the way out the door. Yeah, this song is great.
I would recommend, if you haven't, or I haven't in a while, is to listen to the album as is. And then listen to it with the commentary, which she released last year. So you can hear a little bit more behind what each song meant, which pretty much confirms what we knew anyways.
Yeah.
But again, this is another, like, subject matter is kind of light. You bring me joy. I don't want to fuss and fight again. But by her having 2 songs now talking about how she doesn't want to fuss and fight,
you see something's happening.
You see that, you know what, maybe this relationship that she's talking about, you have a couple ups and downs.
Yeah, it might be a little toxic here.
And then we hit the Marvin interlude. And this is where things start to turn a little bit. So we get a little interlude where she does some Marvin Gaye. And then it goes into, I'm the only woman. She's talking about, oh, this is a man that she's fussing and fighting with. And she's trying to tell him, I'm the only woman you need.
Yep.
If you didn't already know, that man is Casey of Jodeci.
Yes. Or if you jumped on board later, Casey from Casey and JoJo. There are people who know them from different areas.
Yeah. So this song is her basically telling this man, I'm the only woman you need. The song is moody. The song sounds like heartbreak and rain.
And as I explained to you like a year ago when we were talking about this song and we were debating the lyrics, whether one line was said or if it was something else, I just remember hearing for the first time, don't be a fool like your daddy. It was like, what does his dad have to do with this? This is harsh. Like, don't be a fool like your daddy. What did he do?
So the line is, don't be a fool like your daddy if you want to be happy.
Right.
So Miguel and I were discussing this, and I said, I always thought she said, don't be a fool like you have been, which now I hear it's a bit of a clumsy line, but the way I heard it was she's telling him to stop being a fool like he had been in the past, right?
Yeah, well, she is telling him stop being a fool, but stop being a fool like your daddy was a fool.
And then when we listened to the release with the commentary, she confirmed that she said, yeah, don't be a fool like your daddy.
If you want to be happy.
And you want to hear something extra funny about this?
Okay.
Which you may or may not know already. Casey's brother, JoJo, also of Casey and JoJo or Jodeci, wrote this song with her.
Yeah. That I knew.
Okay, she is currently in a relationship with this man.
Yes.
She is writing a song with his brother, begging him to stay.
Yeah.
And it's not in the credits, but it sounds like he may even be singing some background vocals. There is...
It's possible because he's on a lot of these songs.
Yeah, he's officially credited in some of the songs, but there are some where I swear I can hear him, but he's not officially credited. But I love this song. Something about that moody vibe. Again, I was 15 at the time. I had my first experience with a boy. Ooh. But first experience meaning we had awkward conversations on the phone for maybe 2 months. So the term boyfriend is extremely loose. But it was just enough, though, to make me sort of understand what heartbreak might feel like.
It was completely different.
Completely different from what she was feeling.
It was the same thing.
Yeah, but in my mind, I was like, oh, these no good men. It's weird because these songs are sad. And in a way, they are desperate in the sense that she's pretty much from here on basically begging this man to stay with her.
Yes.
But it doesn't sound like you're a fool. Why are you so desperate? Like you just feel bad for her.
Yeah, it's a lot of pain.
Yeah, it's a lot of pain, but you feel sympathy or you relate to her. You're just like, sometimes you just want to wallow. But at the same time, it sounds so nice that it doesn't necessarily make you feel like depressed.
Right.
Like you might feel, I think melancholy is the better word. Yeah. Melancholy.
Yeah.
And the way she sings this one a little bit lower, like she starts off like, I can't sing, so maybe we'll just put a little clip in. But at the beginning of the song, she sings a little bit lower. And I think that helps with that sort of very moody, melancholy sound. With this song, we get a glimpse into the rest of the relationship and not the you bring me joy. Now,
we are definitely in a valley.
But we get a slight break after this with this interlude.
At some point, somebody's going to have to release the high quality version, the full version of this, because someone on a mixtape a couple years ago actually had, I think, 2 verses. But it's so terrible because it was on a mixtape. It's a terrible quality rip and it just sounds terrible. So if anybody has the Keith Murray interlude or has access to the Bad Boy Vault, actually the Uptown Vaults, and can get their hands on this,
please
let it loose, please.
How is it that my favorite Keith Murray song is not a real song and only lasts 15 seconds? So the interlude is about 20-ish seconds long. His verse is about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that we may have forgotten about or that the younger people won't know is the sound that takes up the space at the end of the interlude. So the way the interlude is, you hear it as if you're listening to a song in a car or something. So we have Keith Murray's verses playing, and then Diddy says, put some of that smooth shit on.
Yeah.
And then you hear this click, click sound. And then Mary comes on. That click, click for us is extremely familiar. Yeah. You know what that sound is?
It's either a CD changer or a cassette being switched. One of the two.
It sounds like a CD changer.
Yeah.
And, you know, back in those days, you were pretty fancy if you had a CD changer either in your car or at home where you could listen to more than one CD without taking it in and out. This is a nostalgic sound.
It is. And I'm going to do a little sidebar myself here.
Okay.
So I'm going to set the scene for everybody who's listening.
All right.
When this album came out, I was 19 years old. I had just gotten my first car. It was a dusty red Toyota Corolla 4-door. And when I say the car was ashy, like literally when I washed it, it would shine. And then when it dried, it went from like shiny to matte finish. But I had a 6-disc changer and 2 15s in the trunk, 400 watt amp probably.
I'll pretend I know what that means.
Detachable face
Okay,
radio.
that I know. So which you had to take with you because you don't want someone to steal it.
So this was the soundtrack to probably that whole year. And I'm riding around in this bucket. The sound system was probably worth more than the car. And this is what I was listening to was the My Life album. So when that happens, that was me switching from What's the 411 to this album probably. And if anyone out there wants to hear the interlude, but in a fuller version without Keith Murray, it's Who Shot Ya by Biggie.
So I read somewhere that the reason why Keith Murray was on this interlude is because Diddy didn't want to use Biggie's Who Shot Ya because he didn't want her to have the explicit label. But then in the commentary version, Mary said that Diddy just brought him in to do the interlude. So I don't know why exactly he was brought in, but I just know that this needs to be an actual single because
somebody needs to release it. Release the hounds, man. It's a very hip hop type song too.
It is.
He actually said, "Catch this wordage bubonic plague in your head, chest, back, arms, and legs."
And then you got that classic. Doo, 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 doo.
Oh boy.
We get a little bit of break from the heartbreak.
Yeah.
And then we jump right back into it.
Yeah, we go from, okay, we're having a little bit of fun here to pain.
Put on some of that smooth shit.
Ends up being put on some of this horrible shit.
Painful shit, not horrible.
Yeah, painful.
So the next track is My Life, the title track.
Yep.
And Mary is going through it. If you look into my life, you see what I've seen. So this song isn't even just about Casey. This is just her melancholy, just thinking about all the shit she's been through.
Like,
just
I'm
in
fucking
general.
depressed.
Yeah.
And I've been through a lot.
And so we get that, and then we're going to keep going down this route. The next song, Gotta Believe.
But before we go on,
oh, okay,
I'm going to say this is another comparison that I'm going to throw out there. I'm not really spiritual or a church-going person, but My Life, the song, sounds like a gospel record. It feels like a gospel record.
I see what you're saying.
Like, I'm just giving you my testimony, and if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool, but this is what it is. Because like I said earlier with the comparison with Tupac, you just feel everything that she's singing on this album. So I think this one is a gospel record, an unofficial it's a hip hop gospel record. And just because the sample is what's the song? Everybody Loves the Sunshine, by Roy Ayers. It's like you have this song that's happy and jolly, but the way they slowed it down, it's like the saddest shit you've ever heard. But I love it. It's
slowed down, but you can still hear that Everybody Loves the Sunshine in it still, though. So I think the clever way they use these samples is what keeps it from being all the way depressing and just being more, as I said, melancholy, but also just really reflective.
Yeah.
It also makes you sort of feel like you're just sitting around thinking about what should I do next? What should I do now? Contemplative.
Right.
And not all the way depressing. It's kind of like it's a rainy day.
Yeah.
It's a gloomy, rainy day. But sometimes it's nice to hear the raindrops. Right. So we're going to keep going with this theme with the next song. Oh, this song, Gotta Believe.
Yep.
So in the commentary, which, I mean, you can already tell through the song anyways, she says that she's basically begging this person to see her. This person as in Casey. And not only is he actively singing background in this song, and he's actually credited, after she's singing about, you gotta believe in me, why can't you see? He comes in and he says,
Mary, I hear you loud and clear. You lying ass motherfucker.
You gonna come on this song where she's begging you to see her and to hear her, and you tell her you do, but she's gonna go through it for another 6-7 songs.
Mary, I hear you. I understand what you're going through.
I hear you loud and clear.
But there's 8 more songs after this where obviously you don't.
You are not hearing her, Casey.
At all.
But they sound really good together.
They
because
do.
He also has that old soul, churchy, gospel-y kind of song, voice and singing style as well. So they sound really good together. We're going to keep going. Next song, I Never Want to Live Without You.
Now, we've talked about this. We all know what Casey looks like.
He's a little dude.
He's
a little bird chest.
130 pounds soaking wet and wearing boots.
Yeah.
There's a shoe for every foot.
Yes.
But Mary J. Blige in 1994 could have done a lot better than Casey Haley.
I mean, we're sort of just judging by how he looks or whatever.
Yeah, he might be a great person.
But his bandmates were Devontae and Dalvin, who were like, if you were around in the 90s. All these football players and basketball players named Devontae right now.
They're named Devontae.
They named Devontae because they were conceived most likely to a Jodeci album.
Yeah.
There were no Devontaes before Jodeci. I am pretty confident to say that.
I didn't know of any.
So anyways, he was really putting her through the ringer, though.
He was. I'm just listening to this and it's like, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. So we get into I Never Want to Live Without You, which is basically the same thing. A lot of the songs is her saying, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
Not, you need to straighten up and act right.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, but most of it...
Not a lot.
Most of it is tell me what I need to do for you to stay.
Yeah.
Right? You feel that she's really trying to hold on.
Right.
So we get that, and then, oh boy... Going Down is the next song. I'm going down. This is a classic.
Another remake.
Yep. But it fits with the album, even if it's not an original song. So this was one of the album singles. This is a fan favorite. And the video is also very iconic. There's a bunch of Marys going down the stairs, swinging back and forth.
I don't remember the video at all.
You should look it up. So things kind of lighten up a little bit in the next song. I mean, the themes are still the same. The next song is called Be With You. And it's still, I want to be with you, please stay kind of theme. But I think the sound of it, the beat, it's a little bit more up-tempo.
Yeah,
whereas
it's a little lighter.
Yeah. So this one is one of my favorite songs on the album. But the next song, Mary's Joint, this is my favorite song on the album and my favorite Mary song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in the commentary, she said both her and Diddy were going through it at the time. So they wrote the song together, and she was like, he's going through some stuff. I'm going through some stuff. We put it all together and came up with the song. So this one, I love it so much. It still has that sort of melancholy feel, but this one has this nice little hip hop beat. You know, you'll nod your head to it and sing your heart out at the same time. Like, this is quintessential hip hop soul that she is known for. And the thing that made me realize on this listen how much she was going through it, let me tell you about the 3 layers of sadness.
Okay.
Okay, 3 layers of sadness.
All right, I'm ready for this.
Okay, so there's 2 layers of vocals layered on top of each other,
right.
And then she does some ad-libs on it. So before I get to that, the song starts off, it kind of sounds like a love song at the beginning, and then it takes you on a journey. So the beginning of the song, she says, I know that you're just a man, but you're all the man I need. And I know that you care and you'll never leave. Okay, that sounds nice, right? By the second verse, she says, you promised you would never cheat or lie. Unnecessary pain. Okay? And then we go to the chorus and the bridge, and then she starts with, I'll try to stay. I want to stay. I'll try to wait. Then this is where we get the 3 layers. So one layer, she says, why can't we work it out, my baby? Can't we try? You said our love would always stand the test of time. So while this is going on, there's another layer on top where she's singing, I love you so, I can't let go. You know it's real the way I feel. So these 2 lines are layered on top of each other. And while these 2 layers are going on, she's ad-libbing on top of it, saying, I want to know why. I need to know why. Why can't we work it out? And she's singing the ad-libs really low and sad. I'm like, this woman had 3 layers of why can't we work this out? This man put her through 3 layers of pain.
Oh, man.
I listened to this like 4 times in a row because I wanted to jot down exactly what I was hearing.
Right.
And really, for the first time in a long time, really actively listening to it. Because these days, a lot of times when I put on music, it's usually while I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
And so I would listen to it, write my notes, and be like, I need to hear this again. But when I finally came to that realization that she had these 3 layers, you got to listen to it again and think about these 3 layers.
I'm going to do it as soon as we're done recording. I'm going to go listen to it.
Because I was like, so my notes, I have in caps. Mary was going through it. So the next song is Don't Go.
Again, sounding like everything else.
You can definitely feel the emotion and the desperation of a toxic relationship. This sounds like a toxic relationship.
Man to say, don't go, don't go. I love you so.
And then the next song is I Love You.
It's like, don't go, I love you.
Yep. I Love You is also another great example of her mixing the hip hop sounds that was current at the time with the old school ballads. This one you get a nice little more of an up-tempo beat, even though she's still going through it. And then we get to the second last song, No One Else.
Not gonna lie, Dalvin didn't do much in Jodeci outside of production. Like, he barely sang. They didn't do any dancing. He was there, but he put his foot into this beat.
He did. You know, I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, Dalvin did this song.
Sure
okay.
Did. He sure did.
Yeah, this is a jam.
It is.
And this was also written by her and Casey again. It's like, what? How you going to help me write a song about how much you're breaking my heart?
Like, Dalvin produced it. All of them are on background vocals. Well, we bring up the term gaslight boy all the time on this podcast.
Yeah.
Casey's a gaslight boy.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to help you make these songs that are about me.
Yeah.
And pretend that I don't know these songs are about me. But
did he pretend though? I feel like if he's really putting her through the ringer like that, he knows I don't think he's going to pretend.
Well, he knew, but he didn't care.
I think he promised her that he would be better.
Yeah. Again, gaslight boy.
Yep. And then the album ends with Be Happy.
Because that's all she wants, to be happy. But
and she deserves it.
You listen to the intro all the way to No One Else, and she's not getting through to Casey or the unnamed person that she kept talking about in the commentary since she wouldn't name him. But then you get to Be Happy, and it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done.
I just want to be happy.
I just want to be happy. And if that means I got to be by myself, then I'm going to be by myself. That's the way I read it, is this entire album is her begging for this man to come around. And then he doesn't. And she's like, all right, I see what's going on here. It's time for me to move. I'm moving on. And I'm going to be all right, basically. And it's a perfect setup for the next album, which is Share My World. Just listening to it, it sounds a lot like a person who has gotten out of a toxic relationship and is trying to get her shit together.
I don't know what the timeline is, but after Casey, she dated Case and ended up in another not so great relationship with him.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say during the time of this album.
Yeah, she let him go too.
I don't know if she had let him go or maybe they weren't together.
Yeah.
But this sounds like a single woman. This sounds like somebody who has found out who she is. And is like letting the world know. Yeah,
like she still has the heartbreak songs and whatnot, but there is some of that melancholy sounds like it's gone.
It's not you did this to me. It's more of just general. Yeah. I'm unhappy with whatever's going on in my life right now.
Yeah, it's not as specific.
Yeah. I'm begging you. Yeah. No, it's just general. I need some love.
So this album, no more Diddy.
No.
It was a lot of Trackmasters, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Babyface and Rodney Jerkins. He who will not be named.
Yes, the nigga who shall not be named. And that song is a banger too.
I mean, this was a no-skip album until he had to go and ruin it.
Yeah.
Even though she's not working with Diddy on this album, the sound is still basically the same in the sense that she's still carrying on that R&B hip-hop relationship.
It's a lot more polished and it's...
She sounds seasoned now.
Yeah, she sounds seasoned and the world knows who she is.
Right. She knows that we know who she is. Like, she's arrived.
Yeah. And when we were in the car the other day, just talking about this album and whatnot, and this analogy came to me. It probably won't make much sense to you, but if there's anybody out here who's a basketball fan and was a basketball fan in the 90s, this will make sense. All right. So Mary's run from What's the 411 to Share My World is basically like the Chicago Bulls' second three-peat when Jordan came back from retirement the first time. What's the 411? So kicked it off. You got the peak in the middle, and then you watched The Last Dance with me. So Share My World would be the last dance season, where they couldn't be touched. Nobody was better than them, and everything that they did was just Amazing. I say that because the song with her and Lil' Kim, they were on that song like Jordan and Pippen.
That one is a classic.
Yes, they were like Jordan and Pippen on that song.
Okay.
And when I was sitting in the car and said 72 and 10, write this down, send me a text right now. This is why. I was putting it all together. The only difference is my life would have been before What's the 411 to make this Chicago Bulls analogy perfect. But, you know, it's my analogy, so I'm going to do it the way I want. Because the first season of the three-peat was the most wins that they had, 95 and 96. But this was the second one. Almost a perfect analogy, but I think it's brilliant.
Well, I can't argue with you because I don't watch basketball like that. But I do get the Jordan and Pippen reference, though, at least. This was a great feature to have Lil' Kim on.
And I'm not a big Lil' Kim fan, but the one song of hers that I do love is Queen Bitch. And that's what this song samples. And it's not in the credits, but Biggie wrote this verse. You cannot convince me that he did not write this.
It sounds like Biggie.
Dipping on your Ninja Honda with Tanisha and Rhonda.
Yes.
That's Biggie. And I don't care what anybody says. He wrote this verse. So he's the Pippin in this situation and Mary's the Jordan. But I'll let Lil' Kim get in.
She still had to deliver it, though.
Yeah. She served it.
Because if it was him, it wouldn't have been bad. But
no, it wouldn't have been
this. Had to be Lil' Kim, though.
Yeah.
This is like the perfect match.
Yeah.
Then, you know, you hear some lyrics when you're young or younger and you don't really think about it too much. But
there's
you
a
hear
lot of
them.
that.
Yeah. So in Love Is All We Need, your boy Nas is on it. Now it boggles my mind how domestic violence is just so casual.
Oh, the cheating on you and beating on you?
I'm not the one cheating on you or beating on you. It's like, I know they rhyme, but this shouldn't be so casual.
And I instantly went to...
Shantae's got a man.
It's so bad.
Why are you rubbing it in your friend's face that their men ain't shit and yours is the best?
And they're possibly beating on you and cheating on you.
She goes, what did she say? Shantae's got a man at home. Said something about your man is beating on you, cheating on you. I was like, how can you tell your friend your man's beating on you and cheating on you, but I got my man at home? What kind of friend is this?
Sorry for you.
And in the video, she's hanging out with her girlfriends, and then her man comes to pick her up, and she's like, gotta go, bye.
Yeah, don't get punched in the face.
Talking about their men who are beating on them, and then your friend is like, bye, my man doesn't beat me. How did we miss that?
I don't know. No idea.
It's another sidebar, but the song Love Is All We Need is also another signature Mary up-tempo song. Like, this is definitely a song that you're going to be wearing your thigh-high boots.
Yep.
You're going to be kicking
to the
gonna
left
be
and
swaying,
to the right.
You're going to be doing your auntie dance because this is the age group that she's starting to get into at this point, I think. Was she? No, I don't think she really was yet.
She wasn't yet, but I always like to tell you that she's always been auntie late. Even when she was young.
Can you imagine what her boot and wig closet looks like?
She probably got a whole separate house.
Technically, as we were saying, this is a no-skip album, but we got to skip that next song because we can't listen to it anymore.
Oh, no, you missed one. Actually, you missed a couple of them. Round and Round, Share My World, 7 Days.
So 7 Days is quite a story.
It is. And we've had debate over this song more than once.
Yes, she tells us the sequence of events, but I feel like there's still a lot up for interpretation.
There is, because at the very end of the song, she says that on Monday we made love. But for the rest of the song, it seems as if it may have happened on Tuesday or it possibly happened on Saturday. But at the end of the song, Monday was the first time and Saturday was the second time.
I'm going to pull up the lyrics right now.
Okay, so
this is 7 days. All right, so I'm going to skip the verse. I want to go to, okay. So here is the sequence of events.
All right, now remember, we're trying to determine whether they first...
When did they cross the line?
Yeah, was it Monday? Was it Tuesday? Or was it Saturday?
Okay, so Monday, a friend of mine.
Right.
Tuesday, we played a game.
Right.
She don't say what kind of game.
Exactly.
Wednesday, you went away.
Yep, business trip.
So did he go away because they played a game? Or did he just go away because it was time to go away?
Right.
Thursday, things weren't the same. On Friday, you came back.
Yep.
I wanted to kiss you. On Saturday. On Sunday, we made love. Now, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So I think that they initially made love on Tuesday when they were playing a game, or at least kissed or something. But I think the line was crossed on Tuesday.
That's what I always thought. But at the end of the song, she specifically says Monday in the ad-libs. I don't know if it's in the lyrics sheet, but in the ad-libs, she says Monday.
Is there a chance she made a mistake when she was ad-libbing?
Probably. It's possible.
Because, so I'm going to repeat. Monday, a friend of mine.
Yep.
Tuesday, we played a game. Wednesday, you went away. Thursday, things weren't the same.
Yep.
On Friday, you came back. I wanted to kiss you on Saturday.
But on Sunday,
we made love.
So was it once or twice? Was it Tuesday and Sunday? Was it Monday and Sunday?
Yeah, because something happened on Tuesday for sure.
Yeah, what it was, we'll never know. But according to Mary, at the end of the song, it was Monday.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to the ad-libs.
Yeah, it's at the very end of the song as it's fading out. She mentioned something about making love on Monday. We just spent 3 minutes going through whether or not it was Tuesday or Sunday, and now you throw a Monday in the mix.
Maybe it was the following Monday.
Maybe.
So now it's Sunday and Monday they
I
love.
guess.
The following Monday.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm confused.
All right. So what's next?
That's when the nigga who shall not be named is in. So we can just breeze right past that one.
Why did he have to be like this?
If there are those of you who are still listening to that guy in 2021, feel free to listen to this song and think of me when you do it, because I love this song. But I just can't listen to it anymore.
Let's go back to Mary. So what song's after?
There's the Thank You Lord interlude, so we can just blow past that.
Yeah.
And then the next one is Missing You.
Missing You. Was this the Babyface song?
It is.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of that song because, I'm not a real fan of music done by LA and Babyface outside of the Bobby Brown album. So it's really unfortunate to have this Babyface song be followed up by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis with Everything.
Everything.
That's just unfair.
Is my favorite song off of this album.
Yeah, me too. And it's unfortunate that those two songs had to go back to back because Babyface didn't deserve to be put in that position.
This song, I don't want to say saved the album because it's not like the album was bad.
No.
But this song gave me the feelings that I had listening to My Life.
Yeah, this song would actually fit in on the My Life album.
If Casey could act right and she could be happy, she might sing everything to him.
If she were happy at the time, this song would have ended My Life rather than I Want to Be Happy.
Yeah, exactly.
If he could have gotten his shit together, that could have been the closer to My Life.
Right. That song is like clear winner off of this album. It's everything. Oh, I love that song. Love, love, love.
Yeah. It's followed up closely for me by I Can Love You. Those two are neck and neck for me.
I like I Can Love You. That's definitely one of my favorite songs off this album too. But I think I like that more as like, it's more fun to me. Whereas Everything is more emotional to me, if that makes sense.
I got you.
And then Not Gonna Cry?
No, that's the last song. There's 4 other songs in between. We don't have to talk about them if you don't want to.
The only album where I went in order with my notes was My Life. And I just have random notes for the rest.
Just jump right ahead to Not Gonna Cry. It's another song by Babyface. Again, not really feeling it. The only thing I like about it is her saying secretary.
So this was also on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, hence the secretary, because in Waiting to Exhale, Angela Bassett's character, her no good husband, leaves her for his white secretary.
That's the only reason I like the song is her pronunciation of secretary. Otherwise, I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan, but this song is still a classic. This is the song that, if she's performing it, she don't have to sing because everyone else will.
Exactly.
So, shall we move on to the next album?
Yes, we can.
So, it's 1999 now.
It is.
Her next album is just simply Mary. So we said that Share My World basically solidified her spot.
Right.
But I feel like the Mary album is the album that solidified her place in mainstream culture.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people who aren't real deep into R&B and hip hop, this is probably where they jumped on board. Just because of the features that she has on the album. She's got like Lauryn Hill, Elton John, Aretha Franklin, Eric Clapton, of all people. So it's a lot more mainstream, and that's basically where she got the popularity outside of hip hop and R&B circles.
Right. Like, it's still a good album.
It is.
But it's not one that I really go out of my way to listen to.
No, I probably until this week haven't listened to it since it came out. And just like when I was comparing the first 3 albums to the Chicago Bulls three-peat, this would be the year that Michael Jordan retired for the second time.
Okay.
The songs are okay.
Right.
There's only one song that I really like, and that's Deep Inside with Elton John, just because of the Benny and the Jets sample.
I like All That I Can Say.
I'm not opposed to it, but it really doesn't do anything for me, but I really like the Benny and the Jets sample.
Casey comes back. There's a song she has with now ex. I'm thinking they're exes at this point.
Yeah, they're long done at this point.
The song's called Not Looking.
Specifically for you.
Yeah, and the hilarious thing is at the end of the song, she goes, and I know you're sorry. And that's how it ends.
And she was waiting a couple years to get that one off.
Yep. I wouldn't say this is a bad album, but if I'm in the mood to listen to some Mary, I'm not going to put this one on.
Yeah.
The next one, let's move on to that.
Right.
No More Drama.
No More Drama. This one, similar to the last album, the Mary album, there's 1 or 2 songs that I like on here. Obviously, Family Affair. No Hateration.
Holleration in this Dancery.
Like, come on. You can't beat that.
That beat too.
Hey, you throw Dre in some R&B records and you're going to get some magic. Like, Dre's out here making Gwen Stefani sound dope.
Which is quite a departure from her No Doubt days.
It is. But yeah, I like that one and the one with Pharrell and Malice right after that, Steal Away. But after that, I'm not really too big on this album.
There's a couple songs that I like. Flying Away, I like Never Been, which is not available for streaming. Yeah. I guess some songs just don't get cleared.
Yeah, probably sample issues or something.
So I like it, but again, like the last album, it's not a bad album, but it's not.
It's not the three-peat.
Yeah. And of course, how can we forget the title track, No More Drama, though? Yeah. Like, people love that song. Like,
with the sample from the...
Is it Days of Our Lives?
Days of Our Lives or Young and the Restless, one of these soap operas.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I mean, I get it makes perfect sense at the same time because the song is No More Drama and soap operas is nothing but drama. But for me, I think it was a little too much, a little too on the nose. But it is a fan favorite, though. Yeah. And I understand why it's a fan favorite, even if it isn't mine.
Right.
So Love and Life. This one, most of the songs aren't available for streaming.
Which is weird.
Yeah, like 2/3 of the album.
Yeah, you can listen to like 3 songs on the album.
As we said 100 million times, we have copies of this in storage.
Yeah.
But we're lazy. And so most of the songs are available on YouTube.
I had to hit up old YouTube, but by going to YouTube, we were able to see the videos for the song. And if you want to see Mary in full auntie mode, the Love at First Sight video, oh man, you got some classic Mary dance moves popping in there. You got classic Mary and classic Diddy dance moves.
And this is not my favorite song, but it hooked me in with that Hot Sex on the Platter sample.
Yeah.
And then she brought Method Man back. So it's not You're All I Need to Get By, but the combination of that sample and just her and Method make a great duet as well. I love the song more for nostalgia.
Yeah, pretty much. It takes you back to the What's the 411 days.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit updated. I liked Not Today with Eve when she was still rapping and not a socialite, a billionaire socialite.
Again, you get...
She was still a pit bull in a skirt.
Yeah, you get Dre giving you some R&B stuff. Again, magic happens.
There's a couple other ones I like. It's a Rap, All My Love, Willing and Waiting also brings back some of that like old school soul R&B vibe. Yeah. So this album I actually like better than the previous two, No More Drama and Mary.
Yeah, same.
So then we get The Breakthrough, 2005. And this is where her alter ego...
Brooklyn.
Not Brooklyn. Brooklyn. Is her rapper alter ego.
Yeah. And something I was thinking about when listening to What's the 411 is how long was that Brooklyn persona being put together? Because it
was always there, I think, because she does do a little bit of rapping in the What's the 411.
Yeah, but there was no Brooklyn. Wasn't a thing. Or was it? If you listen to Real Love on What's the 411, when you get to the bridge, the sample is Go Brooklyn. Go Brooklyn. Go Brooklyn. So was this something they were planning on doing 10 years before and just never got around to it?
Nah, I don't.
Because why would you choose that sample? She's not from Brooklyn. She's from Yonkers. So why are they chanting Go Brooklyn?
I think I read something that she was born in Brooklyn or
She was born in the Bronx, I believe, and then moved down south and then back to Yonkers.
Okay.
But there's no Brooklyn connection other than her calling herself Brooklyn down the line. So was that a plan that just never came to be?
I don't know.
Me neither. That's just my mind running away with me again and me making stuff up as I tend to do on this podcast. And
should we put it out in the universe that someday we'll be able to ask her?
Yeah, I would like to personally ask her if that was a plan, or if someone knows and can confirm, let me know. But that's just another Miguel conspiracy theory that I'm putting together, that Brooklyn, the rapper character, was formed 10 years before. Oh, what's the 411?
Or maybe they were listening to that song and she was like, I'm going to call myself Brooklyn.
It's probably more likely that. So you got Brooklyn on that song, and also on the Busta Rhymes Touch It remix. Some more quality viewing if you want something to look at. Big hair. There's definitely a line between Mary and Brooklyn on this song, and you get to see both of them, and it's hilarious. And also Papoose is in the video. And I was like, why in the hell is Ronnie DeVoe on this song? When I first saw him. And then he starts rapping. It's like, oh, that's Papoose. Because they show him really quickly at the beginning of the video. I was like, this makes no sense. Like, the rest of them make sense. Why is Ronnie DeVoe here? But it wasn't him.
Case of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
So maybe it was Papoose in the gun shop.
No, that was definitely Ronnie DeVoe.
Okay. So last year when the lockdown was just beginning, there was some picture circulating around Twitter of people stocking up on guns, and who's in the shop?
Ronnie DeVoe. That was definitely him. It wasn't Papoose.
All right. So back to the breakthrough.
Okay.
She's got her usual rapper cameos, as we've come to expect, because she's still the queen of hip hop soul. She's got some Jay-Z, will.i.am, the MJB song. They're using the G-Unit Hate It or Love It sample. And then we get One with You Two for the other audience.
Yes, for her mainstream fans.
And then we get Be Without You, which is that classic Mary hit.
Yep. And this is the one.
This is the one. Billboard named this song as the most successful song of all time in R&B and hip hop.
Oh, okay.
I saw that on something. Okay. I did not write down my source. It was on the charts for over a year, which is a long time. I knew it was popular, but I didn't realize it was her most successful song.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
It is a great song. Unfortunately, on the album, it says Be Without You Can Do mix. And we have some questions about how much her now ex-husband / manager / alleged sound engineer had to do with this.
You know, my theory is that it was recorded at home, and home studio, there's only the two of them there.
He pushed a couple buttons. Yeah. He's got credits now.
Exactly.
There's a couple other songs that I like on this album too. There's this song, Baggage, Can't Get Enough, Alone. Again, I think at this point I've realized that the My Life era is done.
Yeah, that's long gone.
This is world-renowned Mary J. we got now. I like the album, but pretty much this is where I stopped buying her CDs. And plus, this is 2005. We were not really buying CDs as often anymore. Like, 2005, we're starting to download Napster downloads. I don't know if I'm getting my years right, but digital was becoming a thing, if it wasn't already. But this was the last physical CD that I bought of hers.
Yeah, I don't have the CD. I just had the singles. I had Love at First Sight and a couple others, but I didn't ever have the album.
Oh, Love at First Sight is the previous album.
Oh, see? Yeah. I'm wrong. I tapped out before this.
Yeah. And then the next album is probably the last one I'm going to cover because I don't know anything after this.
I definitely don't know anything
The only thing I know on this one is, so Growing Pains 2006 is fine. You know the song.
Yeah.
Fine,
This one
fine,
I do
fine,
know,
fine,
and
fine,
not
fine.
because
Ooh.
I listened to the song or anything, but when the album was out, she was performing on the Today Show one morning, and David Gregory, who was a Today Show anchor at the time, he's like 6'6".
He's very tall and very thin
He's tall
and lanky.
Middle-aged white guy who you would not expect to be dancing his ass off to Just Fine by Mary J. Blige.
Getting his life.
This was his moment, and he's just off to the side just going for it. It was so crazy that they had to pull back with the camera.
Yes.
So you could see
while
him.
she's performing.
You can see him over on the wings just grooving his ass off. There's just one time where he spins around and his suit jacket goes up in the air. And she looks over and sees him, and they're both just having a moment.
And the fact that he was off to the side, this was for himself.
He was not doing this for the camera at all.
No, he wasn't even in a lit area. It was a little bit dark because, well, she was performing.
And they made the production choice to say, hey, we need to get this. We need to have David out here on camera dancing along to Mary J. Blige. Yeah, that's probably the last thing I remember, like really consuming in terms of music. Like you would hear the odd single here and there, and I wouldn't say, hey, that song sucks. Everything has been pretty good and consistent up to this point, even up through what you say, our last album was 2017.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like a fall off or anything. I just stopped listening for whatever reason.
I pretty much stopped after this album. I think part of it too, digital just kind of, it changed how we listen to music. I would maybe look her up on whatever streaming service I'm trying to find, you know, an album I want to listen to, and I'll be like, oh, what's this? So it wasn't a conscious decision like, oh, I don't like Mary anymore. I just didn't know that she even had newer music out too. And then when I did see it, I would listen to it, but just like, no reason in particular.
Yeah, I don't have a real reason for it.
Yeah, like I'm not like, oh, she fell off. I just listen to that old shit.
Basically. I like what I like.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her transition into acting now that she's doing stuff in movies and television. The first thing I remember ever seeing her in was this BET movie from like 25 years ago. It was way back in the day. Prison Song, where she played Q-Tip's mom.
2001. I have it written down.
It's not a great movie, and she's not in it very much.
Yeah.
But she plays his mom before he ends up going to prison or whatever. As far as I can remember, because it's been so long since I've seen it, but it's one of those things that's always on BET, so you might see it tomorrow. But she plays his mom. She has some sort of psychotic episode where she ends up getting committed and sent away for a while. He ends up falling into some situation with him and Fat Joe where he accidentally pushed him onto a subway track and killed him, and he went to prison for it, and there you have it.
Okay.
Again, it's not a very good movie, but that's the first thing I saw her acting in. And then everything, like you said, she's typically playing herself in a lot of things. But more recently, she's gotten into actual scripted dramas and movies and TV shows. So she's leaning towards more the acting thing than the music right now. Like you mentioned in the opening, what was it, 2 years ago? She was nominated for an Academy Award.
Yep, for Mudbound.
Mudbound. Right
Two
now.
Academy Awards.
Yes. Well, one for acting.
Yeah, one for acting.
Yeah, so she got the nomination. And I remember seeing that list and I was like, wait a minute. Is that the same Mary J. Blige? So I thought that maybe the list was mixed up with music or something, and a song was nominated. And then I looked through, and was like, no, this is for acting. I was shocked to see that, but I still didn't watch the movie until a couple days ago.
Yeah, she tricked us into watching some recreational sadness.
Yeah, it's a hard watch.
It is.
She plays Jason Mitchell's mom in it. It's set in the 1940s, and they're basically a family of sharecroppers living on the property of these old racist white people.
Jim Crow South.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in the movie, but she played a nurse, farmer, midwife,
mother,
all in this movie, and If you want to check it out, do it. But if you don't really want to be depressed and angry, don't watch it.
I thought it was a good movie.
It's a good movie, but there's no joy in it at all.
I would not have wanted to watch 1940s racism.
No.
But it is a good movie.
It is. Also, she was on this Netflix show called The Umbrella Academy, where she's playing like a time-traveling bounty hunter.
Yeah.
She's pretty funny in this.
Yeah.
You haven't seen this yet, but there is a Mary J dance scene.
Of course.
It's not her usual bop and kick, but
Yeah.
she does dance in this show.
Yeah, I've only watched 2 episodes. I kind of wish I put my energy into this show instead of Mudbound, but hey, research, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fantasy.
Yeah, it's a comic book, and it's funny. It's what you would call a popcorn movie, but it's a TV show. Like I said, she does have a major role where she's playing this time-traveling bounty hunter.
So yeah, it's a fantasy show, so it's a nice break from reality.
Also, we watched another one last night where she's actually the lead in this film called Body Cam. It's a supernatural thriller, and she's playing a police officer whose son dies tragically in a pool accident, and she's dealing with the stresses and repercussions from that. People think she's crazy, and crooked cops and ghosts and all sorts of weird stuff happening.
The thing that made me say, you know what, I will give this a try was to see her in a lead role. And then you said there was some paranormal aspect to it. So I thought, okay, maybe this will be entertaining. But
not every horror movie is going to be Get Out or Us. Some people can do horror, others it's straight to DVD, and this is one of those.
I think she did well with what she had to work with.
Yeah, but the plot was really shaky. The issue with this is because it is horror and supernatural stuff happening. When you do that kind of stuff, it has to be written really well. Whereas this one was kind of sloppy.
It wasn't the worst, it wasn't the best. That's how I see it.
But if you want to check it out, it's on Prime, Amazon Prime. So we've talked about her music. We've talked about
her impact
on the culture, the movies and TV shows that she's done in the past couple years.
Oh, I forgot to mention she's in the Power.
I think it's called Book 2.
And I know people love that show. Oh, Lorenz Tate is on there
Lorenz Tate, which we mentioned the last episode, is in it. Method Man is in it as well. So a lot of people that we've mentioned over the past couple episodes are in it. She's also playing the singer Dinah Washington in the Aretha Franklin movie that's coming out. I'm not sure when, but sometime this year. I think it's November, December. So she's in that as well. I'm not really sure what else she's getting up to other than Real Love being played in Target commercials now. So
that's interesting. I started watching a recent interview she did with Willie Geist, and she mentioned she's working on an album. We should expect something soon-ish. She's like, I'm not giving you a date, but she's actively working on an album.
All right, we can look out for that.
Oh, and she's also she's selling wine.
Okay.
And jewelry.
All right.
Hoops, of course.
Well, duh.
Door knockers.
Yeah. Can you get your name on them, though?
I don't think so.
That's where the money is.
Yeah, so she's venturing into other things.
Okay.
It seems.
All right, so that's all I have for Miss Mary Jane Blige. And before we get out of here, I really enjoy the fact that her name is Mary Jane.
You know what? She's always just been Mary J Blige to me, and I never even thought about what the J is.
Well, moving forward, I'm going to refer to her as Marijuana Blige.
All right.
That's her new name moving forward in terms of me talking about her. It's going to be Marijuana Blige.
Okay.
That's all I have. Anything on your side over there?
One thing I would like to recommend for the 2019 BET Awards, they gave her the Lifetime Achievement.
Okay.
So she performed a 20-minute medley.
Okay. I might have to check this out myself.
It is an amazing performance because she does all her hits, the ballads and the uptempos. She does outfit changes. We get a little Method Man and Little Kim cameo as a treat. Of course. It's on YouTube. So the clip of the actual performance, you don't see my other absolute fave. Rihanna is the one who actually presents the award to her. So all of the faves in one spot, and it's just a great performance seeing her now performing all this stuff and, you know, the classic Mary moves.
A lot of kicking and bouncing.
Definitely. And the whole room is going, go Mary, go Mary, go Mary. So it's a great performance to understand her career and her impact.
Okay. The recommendation I'm going to give then is not going to be the usual recommendation, the what's the 411 my life, all that stuff that we talked about earlier. I'm going to go with the Umbrella Academy because it's a Mary J. Blige that we don't get to see all the time. Mm-hmm. Mary J. Blige is toting a gun and tracking people down and shooting things up while wearing a puppy mask. And you get to see her, quote unquote, fighting. Okay. But we all know that it's not Mary in this wig or in this mask. Yeah. Because there's flips and she looks like a ninja, basically. I'm convinced that when she runs around the corner, that's her. Okay. And she gets stabbed in the ass. So if you want to see Mary outside of her comfort zone and unlike anything we've ever seen her in before, check out Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
That's a good recommendation. I plan on finishing it. I'm only on episode 2 right now, but I'm intrigued enough to keep going.
All right, so we're going to wrap up here. We want to thank you again for sticking with us and listening all the way to the end. Check us out on your podcast service of choice. Rate, subscribe, review, tell a friend to tell a friend.
To tell a friend.
And just keep the chain going because we're trying to get these numbers up. You can follow us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Troy Podcast. You can follow us at our website, troypodcast.com.
I have plans for the website, so stay tuned.
Yes, so there are big things coming on the website. If you want to go check it out, do that. There's links to pretty much everything that we're doing. We are putting up Spotify playlists, so if you want to listen to what we're talking about in these episodes, you can do that as well. Search it from the episode title name or just search Troy Podcast on Spotify. Got anything else you want to say to the people before we shut it down?
I love Mary J. Blige. Been a fan since 1992.
And still cooking.
I was dancing in my seat.
I believe you.
I was wondering if you could hear me.
I did.
Shuffling around upstairs.
Well, I couldn't hear you
because I had headphones on.
But I could hear it in the headphones.
Okay. If you had came upstairs while I was listening to it, you would have thought I was crazy.
Oh,
I was
boy.
just dancing in my seat.
On that note, we are out of here. We will see you in 2 weeks.
All right.
Toodaloo, suckers.
Suckers? That's not nice.
All right. Toodaloo, lovely people.
Bye.
Bye.